All right, my friends, welcome back to Frog Boy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today I wanted to kind of talk about the thing that AMD is doing by holding back the 9070 XT till March. Man, the more I think about this, the more brilliant I think the strategy from AMD actually is. Either they're doing this for real because the 9070 XT needs a little bit more time, and they obviously, are trying to work on FSR4 or whatnot. Maybe that is the case. Maybe that is the case. But I kind of feel it's a little bit more shady than that. In terms of, and when I say shady, I mean, I really do feel like they went out of their way to do this simply because they can. And why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? The absolute freaking insane claims that Nvidia came with for the 50 series cards, and now we're starting to see the benchmarks trickle out for the 5090. We're seeing that the uptick over the 4090 isn't that great. So I mean, reviewers of 5090 are literally digging up the 7900 XTX to show you just how massive of a gain it is to buy a 5090 for $1,000 more than what, like, you could literally get on Amazon right now and get the magnetic XFX 7900 XTX for just under $1,000. This is like $949. And when I look at that, so I got this picture. It'll be on the screen right now. For a 4080 Super, they are scalping these things on Amazon for $1,700. And then right under that, you see a 7900 XTX for less than $1,000. And that man, this is madness, my friends. This is madness. I was even trying to look and see what the 4070 Ti Super was, and even that one's getting scalped over there for like $1,700. I was like, you cannot be freaking serious. This is madness. So I was watching Daniel Owens earlier, okay? And he comes out and he's showing off that 5090 versus the 7900 XTX. I even talked to him a little bit in his comment section, telling him, I'm like, dude, like, because to me, guys, honestly, it kind of just seems disingenuous, because it's like, instead of calling Nvidia out and telling them how dumb and how stupid and how uncool it is for them to literally basically give us pretty much for the same money, like they're literally saying, hey guys, just buy another Ti or a Super or something very, I mean, the upgrade over the 40 series in pure rasterization and whatever, no magic or whatever, is literally like 15 to 30% for these cards. I mean, I was even watching another slide showing me that it's like 12%. Like the 5070 is 12% faster than a 4070. That is freaking madness. To be completely honest with you guys, this is a whole new generation, and Nvidia is essentially just relying on this multi-frame rate generation. So the only real problem that I have with Daniel Owens' video is, you guys know that on this channel for the last couple of weeks that I've been, testing out AMD's fluid motion frames, utilizing frame generation, basically doing like the multi-frame rate thing. And I've come to the conclusion that, yeah, I can get a pretty dang good playable experience utilizing these settings on this GPU. Like, it is fast. It makes it is, if you're on a controller, it is basically like you cannot really tell the difference. It is that good. Like, it is that convincing that it's actually a good experience. So when he's testing this multi-frame rate generation to like, and putting that next to a 7900 XTX, it's like, Daniel, honestly, man, if you would go out and grab that, like that footage of the say the 7900 XTX utilizing multi-frame rate frame generation, stacking with AFMF2, then I'd be like, okay, that seems a little bit more fair. I just have a problem with the way that people review AMD. Now, I personally, and the only reason I do is because I've been using AMD for 18 months and I absolutely love the setup. I love AMD. I love what they do. And so when I see other people go out of their way to like talk up these features, or not even talk them up, like basically come out and be like, oh man, this is trash, dude, for the 30% upgrade, and then they're relaying on software, blah, 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 and then turn right around in the very next video and not even comparing that to the Nvidia cards, just straight up going straight for the jugular on AMD, and then being like, oh yeah, but it's all blurry and fuzzy. And look, guys, FSR is a tool. You don't have to use it. There are different layers of it. If you're using performance, yeah, it's absolutely not the best looking, but it's still significantly better than you're going to get on any console, period. You'll be able to play your 4K. You know, guys, honestly, there are multiple tools, and this is why I get so irritated with the Nvidia guys and the way they review this stuff, and they never go out of their way to really explain the experience and help you really understand what this tech can do. Like they review the numbers. That's it. Like I really do. Me personally, now I can glean enough information from these tech reviewers to be like, okay, and then kind of understand exactly what's going on. But you literally, for somebody new that hasn't went PC yet, for somebody new, like everything they say is literally freaking confusing. And you know, earlier today, I saw this post on Twitter, and I said I was going to make this video because I saw this guy named Donnie, and he was basically saying that like, man, everything just seems foreign to me. I would love to build a PC, but I don't even know where to start. And he's 100% correct. 100% correct. So if you look at the you have like these settings and stuff on PC, you know, and with AMD, you have the full-on Adrenaline software. You can get in here and you can literally take advantage of so many different features. It is not even funny. One of the things that I like to do, and especially very well on a high-end card like the AMD 7900 XTX, because let's all just be honest. You have to pay a lot of money to utilize 4K. Nvidia does make that easier, absolutely. With DLSS, you can get a cleaner looking image quality using DLSS. But is that the best use of your money, to be completely honest with you? Because that's still going to give you lower performance. That's still going to give you, you know, I mean, it's a playable experience, but everything you're leaving on the table by using balanced or performance DLSS, you're still leaving a lot on the table. Yes, it looks good, but you're literally in console. You're in console range, in my opinion. You are not getting a high-end experience. You're getting performance. You're getting performance DLSS. That is not a high-end experience, period. Now, I don't care how you look at it. I don't care if it looks good or not. I did not spend $1,000 on a 4080 or $1,200 on a 4080 Super to play in balanced performance DLSS. Now, I'm not saying that that's how it always is, but if you want to use the special features, ray tracing and everything else, yeah, you're using performance. You're on a 5090 and still using performance and multi-frame generation to utilize path tracing and all of that stuff. So yeah, you're throwing your money away. But if you look at it from this point of view, the AMD 7900 XTX is the third fastest card on the market now. Well, it's the second fastest card on the market right now. And it's got an incredible feature set that works across these new technologies like display stream compression, which is another thing that kind of just, you know, compresses your algorithm for your graphics card. So when it pushes it to your monitor, it doesn't need a higher bit rate, you don't need like a super high bit rate or whatever. Well, transfer speed, gigabytes or whatever. I don't know how to. I'm still learning, but it just makes it so you don't have to push as much, so you can get more frames. Right now, I've turned display compression off on ultra wide, and that caps me at 144 frames instead of being able to get the 240 frames. And you know, I've been testing that. You know, somebody made some claims and stuff, so I've been testing that, and I put out a video talking about that. But there's just so much technology and there's so much trickery in the PC space right now that it's very hard to understand and know what's real and what's not. So this is why I like AMD, because you can kind of tell what's real and what's not. Now, when I utilize something like FSR, I don't lose a lot of image quality. Is what happens is, yeah, it upscales, but it's not like some algorithm that's, you know, like an AI algorithm that's deciding what looks better. It's scaling the pixels. Like there's no AI in there. It's just scaling the pixels. And for the most part, you either love it or hate it. You do. You either love it or hate it. You get some flicker, you get some ghosting, you get some of the other stuff. You know, guys, until I started this channel, none of that stuff ever even mattered to me. It never even mattered to me. It never even dawned on me that was going to be a problem. But I do get it. Like, I do understand the argument. Due to the fact that how much money we spend for this PC stuff, you would expect it to be significant. You would expect it to just be perfect, but it's not. It's an imperfect art. No art is perfect. To be completely honest with you, there's always going to be somebody that's going to love it or not love it. Now, when I look at AMD, okay, you get into the Adrenalin software, you have virtual super resolution. Now, I would much rather use that instead of going to 4K. I would rather run at 4K and then downsample to 1440p because it gives me a better overall image quality, that even if I use any form of FSR all the way down to performance or ultra performance, it still looks incredibly good. I don't lose a lot of image quality. I still get nice, clean, defined lines and all of that stuff. So there's a thing that people, you know, that I don't think, I think these guys, everybody just shoots for 4K. It's like, oh my gosh, 4K is a new standard. No, guys, actually 1440p is the absolute best. I mean, I just bought this 1080p monitor. I was playing around with it for a couple of days on the 7900 XTX, but then I was like, I mean, I bought it for the ROG Ally so that I could hook it up and just have like a whole nother system sitting right here, you know, just running off the ROG Ally, because I've had that thing for so long and I barely ever play it, but this gives me that perfect way to do it, because I've tried recording screen and stuff, and oh man, it really just doesn't turn out that well. But you get, I'm sorry guys, I always do this. I'll start talking about something, but it's like weird, man. I think that once you understand the way that AMD works, and because it is a completely different experience, Nvidia pushes these new features that I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'll probably die on this hill, but I feel like a lot of the features Nvidia brings to the market really do feel more like a beta feature, but that they're charging you full price for. And I know that a lot of us feel that way. Okay, I'm not coming down on Nvidia like I do. They're the best for a reason. They're the best for a reason. They do very, very good. Like if you have a workstation and there's a greater need for an Nvidia GPU than there is for AMD. AMD is for gamers 100%. That's where it sits right now. So yeah, it is a gamer GPU that you're leaving a lot on the table. So can Nvidia command a higher price? Yeah, technically, yeah, they can. They can. Is $1,000 too much for a 5080? I personally don't think so. I don't think so. I think the 5080, well, for the 4080 Super, what that could do with a 15% uplift over that, I think that puts it closer to like more on par with my 7900 XTX and maybe a little bit further on a lot of stuff. So I'm definitely looking forward to that 5080 still. But here's the thing, guys. When I look at how Nvidia or these guys go out of their way to try to compare the 5090 back to the 7900 XTX, and I look at that and they're spouting numbers like 73% or 79% or all the way up to like 100 and something percent, you know, with ray tracing and stuff like that, and then only showing a select amount of games that literally favor the Nvidia GPU, and then pulling out what, Call of Duty, and being like, well, I mean, I guess that to me just kind of feels disingenuous. I mean, if you're going to do a video like that, we need a significantly bigger a wider, like we need to see way more games, and we need to see way more games at rasterization. If we're going to use multi-frame generation, I want to see how Assassin's Creed Valhalla runs on freaking AMD's 7900 XTX with AMD's fluid motion frames too, next to the 5090. Like those are the things I want to see. I want to see, can the magic of AMD actually close the gap of a 5090 on games that, because AMD's Fluid Motion Frames 2 is a driver level feature, and it runs across all DX11, all DX12, Vulkan, and OpenGL games, so I would like to see that. If we're going to utilize the feature set of the Nvidia cards going forward, I think it's fair to use AMD's Fluid Motion Frames, because it's not always perfect, my friends. It's not always perfect on every game, but when it works, it freaking blows your mind. It's good enough. And obviously, when they start going and talking about the features of the 5090, because obviously the hardware performance upgrade was not good enough. When they start turning to the features and spouting the new features, that means they're just applying to the casual crowd. Like no PC hardened PC enthusiast is going to be looking at the 5090 and being like, they know exactly if they're going to buy it or not. To be completely fair, they're like, okay, they're weighing their options. 30% uptick, 100% more money. Am I going to buy this GPU over, you know, what I already got? Because clearly that person's already got a 4090. They're probably weighing in their head, okay, I sell the 4090, I use that money, I recoup it, I buy the 5090, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Got to get through the scalpers, all of that. Obviously, the constrained supply of 5090s at launch. Everybody knows that they're buying that. Is what's really going on is these reviewers now that have got the 5090, because it's the best. Like, it's literally the best. If Nvidia gave me a 5090 for free, I'd be absolutely floored. I'd be like, whoa, this is so damn good. And that right there is you're gonna see my joy. You're gonna see my happiness. You're gonna see that I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, I'm trying frame gen. And just like with AMD, I'm like, wow, this isn't that bad. It would trick or not trick, but it would literally convince the casual player. And so the casual player that's sitting at home is like, man, I can't afford one of them 5090s, but I can sure as shit get one of them 5070s, or I can get one of them 5070 Ti's, or they're gonna buy the best they're gonna buy the best Nvidia GPU they can buy. They know they can't get the Halo, so they're gonna buy the best that they can get. Therefore, making those sacrifices that, yeah, you're not going to... Frame generation, honestly, guys, is probably... I mean, I've been trying it with the ROG Ally. That's one of the other reasons I got the ROG Ally out, is because I've been trying it on that, and it's nowhere near as good as it is on a 7900 XTX. Like the 7900 XTX, it literally feels like I'm playing native frames. Like it is so convincing that I'm like, wow, that is very good. That's very good. But on the ROG Ally, I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, this is not good, man. It's not that great. Like it works fine, but I'm like, wow, this is not that good. And so when I look at that experience, and then I look back and I'm like, okay, you got a 5070, it's got 12 gigs of VRAM. You're gonna try to run this card with those settings. You're gonna let's just face it, dude. And I know what happens. I bought my 3060 Ti pre-built desktop when I first started in PC gaming. I went straight to 4K. Didn't I? I went straight to 4K. I was playing on 4K. I was using DLSS, and I was like, yeah, man. My only experience before that was Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, and the 3060 Ti was better. And then we started getting the new games, and then we started running into VRAM, so I got a 3080, and then, yeah, and down the rabbit hole I went. Now, I want to try to help people save the money of not doing what I did and help them get into the PC space where they need to be. Now, most gamers are probably looking at, like their console, okay? Like, oh my gosh, $700 for PlayStation 5 Pro, or I can get that 4060. I've been looking at a lot of pre-built PCs lately, trying to price stuff out and see. And we're looking at like 60 level cards, right around the $1,200 to $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 range. And I'm like looking at that and I'm like, wow, man. And then like the next one up, you're like almost 2K for 4070. You're almost $2,000 for a 4070 build. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, wow, man, no wonder why a lot of people pick these 60 series freaking PCs. They're all buying these freaking, these pre-builts. They're all getting the best they can afford. And it's not that they can afford that. I think a lot of them would be able to easily push past that and get like a $2,000 PC. I do. I just believe they could do it. But they never had a PC. They don't know. They don't know what to buy. They're thinking, okay, man. They're thinking this PC is 3 times more expensive than my PS5. Every one of the freaking PC guys said PC is significantly better, so they're just buying it based on that, thinking, yeah, man, $1,500, that's going to be a beast. And then they get it home, and it's playable. You know, some of them get really lucky and only have games that don't need a whole lot of power, so they're perfectly fine on that 60 series, and DLSS gets them up to their 4K on some of this stuff, and it still looks better than the console, gives them better frame rate. They can, you know what I mean? So they feel okay with it. They feel justified. Some of them obviously are smarter and be like, no, this sucks. This is not that great. And some of them are like, you know, going to flip on frame gen, multi-frame gen, and they're going to be like, woohoo, I get like 200 frames, I'm getting 4090 power. That's how bad it is out there, guys. That's how bad it is. And you see all these other reviewers, they eat it up, man. All these people come in and they're just like, they're just trying to glean because they want to move forward. They want to move forward. They want to get a PC, but they're just gleaning and they're just eating up all this nonsense, all these wives' tales, all this like freaking information that does absolutely nothing for them. Trust me, I had to spend a lot of money this last year to figure all this stuff out, to actually see the truth, to understand exactly what PC gaming is. So now I'm going to impart on you my final wisdom for the night. You want to move from console. You want to get a PC. You don't want to jump in at a 60 series. You don't. I mean, they're not terrible. They will get the job done. It'll definitely give you a really good experience. Where you want to be is you probably want to go more mid-range. You know, you don't necessarily need to chase 4K, but you are going to have, like, your monitor is going to be a significantly bigger upgrade than anything anyways. So you're gonna want something, you know, like 7800 XT, 7900 GRE, like that $550 GPU range. That's where you want to be, because that is going to give you, and you want 16 gigs of RAM. You want about 16 gigs of VRAM. That there's going to be pretty good for you. You're going to want the best 1440p monitor you can get. You can obviously get OLED 1440p monitors. I think they're absolutely incredible. I would much rather have that than a 4K display any day of the week. 4K is great. Like, it is awesome. If you can afford to chase 4K, more power to you. But you are going to get a significantly better experience at a mid-range GPU with 16 gigs of VRAM, a nice 8-core CPU. Doesn't have to be the 7900X or 7800X 3D or 9900X or 9800X 3D. It doesn't have to be one of those. You can get just a regular one. You could even do, I mean, you could technically get away with like a 7600X. But I would, you know, get the best CPU that you can buy. That's probably an important thing. I would say the CPU is going to last multiple freaking card upgrades. If you get the better one you buy it up front, the better the longer that's going to last, and the better that's going to be. So you get the best CPU you can get. You get a mid-range GPU. You get 32 gigs of RAM, system RAM. You get a nice 850 to 1000 watt power supply. You probably don't need that much, but if you're going to stay in that mid-range, probably 850. You know, 850 should be fine. We've seen consistency over the last while. For that, you can even run like, I think you can even run like a 5080 on an 850. So get about an 850. You know, if you want to really future-proof yourself, if you're afraid that you're going to need like super, like the end-all be-all power, maybe get 1000 watt. But you know, and then just focus on other things like storage. You're going to want more SSD storage. You're going to want, you know, a good motherboard that's got enough upgradability for storage. Look at stuff like that. Don't be dumb. Invest in your first PC. Get the absolute best you can afford in a mid-range. Don't even worry about the entry-level stuff. Yes, it's great. Like, it's going to blow your mind. It's going to be one of those things, guys, where you go out, you buy the entry-level stuff, And then you grow out of it way too fast, and then you're just throwing more money at stuff. Because think about it this way, okay? If the base PC is $1,500 entry, and the one that I'm telling you to get is in the $2,500 to $2,500, $2,500 would easily get you a solid mid-range PC with like the top of the line stuff. So like seriously, it'd be awesome. If you get $1,500 and then you get to a point you're like, oh man, I want to upgrade. If you didn't get a good CPU or a good power supply, because you're probably going to get like 650, 700 watt power supply for that thing. You're going to get like a low, like maybe 16 to 32 gigs of RAM. You're going to get a cheaper CPU. Your upgrade options are very limited. So you're going to end up spending significantly more money to try to get to that next level, just like I did, to get to that next level of where you need to be in mid-range. Mid-range is going to blow your mind. Mid-range is going to run perfectly fine on a 1440p monitor long-term, and you're going to save a ton of money. You don't have to run out and buy top-of-the-line 4K stuff unless you can afford it. If you can afford to do 4K, yeah, get the 90 series card, get the best you can buy. But, you know, like you're going to be trading those out pretty often, because once you go top end, it really is hard to go back down. It is. Once you go top end, you got plenty of VRAM. You don't have as many issues. You can brute force brand new games. You can do whatever you want. You can use multi-frame generation. You can use ray tracing. You can use all the damn features and get a playable experience. You cannot do that lower down the stack. And every time a new game comes out with these ray tracing features, it cripples performance on the cards. It's terrible. It's tragic. It's like you're going to lose so much sleep if you do that. But if you just get a mid-range and you ignore ray tracing, because sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. And the last thing, you will always get a better deal going with AMD. But you need to understand that AMD is built for gamers and it has gamer features. You're going to find more features that are going to absolutely make your gaming experience better. With Nvidia, you're paying a premium because you're buying a work GPU. So if you don't need it for work, go AMD. If you need it for work, get Nvidia. If you need it for work, you already know what you need, basically. If you don't, then I would go AMD. AMD is going to give you a better bang for your buck. Yeah, I just can't recommend Nvidia to brand new people. It's very hard for me after going through everything I went through. And literally, I mean, because it's so easy to go out and find a pre-built with Nvidia already in there. It's so easy, and the markup on those things is so high. It's absolutely freaking crazy. Like some of the markup I've seen on some of this stuff, guys, has been so freaking bad that I'm like, wow, it is disgusting. And it's mostly Nvidia. It's very hard to get a pre-built AMD. Like you will have to go to a specialist to have them build you a good AMD PC, and you'll still probably come in under budget than you like on what you're paying for an Nvidia one. So yeah, that's my advice to you guys. It's definitely a long-winded video, and I'm grateful for all of you that watch this. So if you like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.